Today we want to look at what I think is going to be the craziest chart you will see all week. And it's crazy in a little bit of a different way, in the sense of correlation. So without any further ado, let's have a look at this chart and see what it, in my opinion, is going to tell us about some broader trends that are intact here in the market. So we flip over to the chart, and to some extent this is a bit of a follow-up to a video I made earlier this week where I talked about airline stocks being on the verge of a breakout of fairly notable proportions as the reopening trade continues to work, notwithstanding global broader market volatility, political issues, political infighting, debt issues around the world. There still is likely going to be, in our opinion, some more money left to be taken from the table in terms of travel and related stocks. So that includes airlines, that includes hotels, and so on and so forth. If you look at the chart that I brought up here, this is just your normal 10-year U.S. Treasury note yield, and this is about a year and a half look back, a bit more, actually 2-year look back, or actually more than 2 years even. But you can see basically just from looking at that, you can see a very nice move here to the upside that we had earlier this year, starting in the second half of last year of 2020. We peaked in the spring of 2021 as we started to see a growth kind of peak, and then we had the Delta variant of COVID start to bring about some fear in the market, and that ultimately led to a corrective move in bond yields, and now we're moving back to the upside. Technically, this sets up for bond yields going anywhere from 170 maybe up to 2. That's kind of where we stand right now over the foreseeable future of a few months or so. The more important part about all of this is, and here it is, drum roll, the craziest chart you'll see all week. So what I did on this chart, as I took the same chart you just saw a second ago, it's still here, it's the candlestick chart, the one with the green and red candles, and I overlaid on that chart something totally different. It's shares of Delta Airlines, ticker symbol DAL, which is the orange line that you see on your screen. Orange fitting here in October, of course. And if you look at this chart, or these two charts, they're literally the same. I look at a lot of correlation models, cross-asset, and I can tell you this is one of the craziest, highest correlations I've ever seen, or have seen in a long time, positive correlations. So basically, if we think that bond yields are going to go somewhat higher for the remainder of this year, and we believe in the reopening trade, and that's when I say we, I say I here from our perspective, and we think that reopening trade could continue to give a bit of a boost to travel stocks, again, that's hotels and airlines, then this correlation is pretty important to know, because it's kind of like checks or confirms, at least from this perspective, that both of those things would be going higher. So it's kind of a logical, and it's really interesting because we didn't really look, when we started to get bullish again on the reopening trade, it really had nothing to do with bond yields. It was all about the fundamentals and the underlying structural tailwinds we see for the travel industry. And then, of course, bond yields is a separate story, but not surprising that it's lining up and also doing the same thing, which is moving higher. So from this perspective, shares of Delta Airlines will be looking pretty good. And again, that's why I said this is kind of a follow-up to a video I made earlier this week. So if I just now go over here to our charting platform, I type in DAL, you look at a chart that, again, not surprisingly, looks almost exactly like that chart of bond yields that I showed you. Now, immediate stock market volatility notwithstanding, we are still going through what I think is going to be somewhat of a bottoming phase for the remainder of the year in equities, and not necessarily in the indices just yet, but we're going to see some more volatility. So any sort of immediate volatility notwithstanding, I think this is an important a part of the market to look at. Again, we do think Delta Airlines, among others, can go higher, and that correlation is really quite something. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Leave any comments if you have anything. Would love to hear from you. Questions, comments are always welcome. Hope it helps, and we will see you again soon.